What a classic on Monday Night Football. That's what we call a long-standing division rivalry game. Love it. Throw the records out, which the Raiders would love to do right now. But going in 1-3 was not what anybody envisioned for the Raiders to start the season, especially me, having chosen the Raiders to win the AFC West with all of the changes that happened in March and throughout the offseason. The AFC West was supposed to be the toughest division in football. Minus Tyreek Hill, the Chiefs were supposed to be vulnerable, and here we are waking up after Week 5 of the 2022 season, and the Chiefs are sitting on top at 4-1, and the Raiders are at the bottom at 1-4. 4 being the operative number for Travis Kelce last night. 4 touchdowns on just 25 yards receiving. That's it.
Wow.
He had 7 catches, 4 of them in the end zone, 25 yards on the night, 4 touchdowns. That's it. That's how Mahomes also accounted for all of his 4 touchdowns throwing yesterday. And the Raiders kind of bottled this team up to start. This is what I was talking about all March and April and May and June and July and August and up until games started being played in September. This is why I thought the Raiders were going to be really good and tough to beat this year. I thought Max Crosby and Chandler Jones on the same defensive line would provide such immense pressure on the edges and also get to the quarterback. I thought that Davante Adams back with Derek Carr would provide a vertical game that the Raiders love to do. Throw deep, baby. That's been their mantra ever since the Al Davis days. You know?
Throw deep, baby.
Tom Hanks saying that a few years ago was one of our favorite drops. And on a 4th and 1 early in the game, they're going for it midway through the first quarter, running the risk of giving a half a field to Patrick Mahomes. Up top they go. Touchdown.
Boom.
Josh Jacobs starts running with abandon. He arrives with intention. He puts an exclamation point at the end of his runs. Josh Jacobs had a career best in rushing last night after setting his career best in rushing mark the previous week. It just lasted 1 week. He broke it last night. They didn't have Darren Waller, and they were being able to put points on the board and absorb the inevitable run from the Chiefs offense that occurred in the third quarter, taking a 20-10 deficit and making it a 24-20 lead. The Raiders came back, eventually tied the game on another vertical pass, a gorgeous dime from Carr stepping up in the pocket to find Davante Adams in the end zone with 2 Chiefs on him, dropped it right in the bucket. And the Raiders decided to go for 2 because they knew Mahomes, if he was going to get the ball back, all they needed one stop to win, not to just force potential overtime and play more football in Arrowhead. And, of course, that was the final blow right there in the game because the Raiders did not get the 2-point conversion. They were 1 point shy and then did get the ball back and could not convert. So that's what I saw in the Raiders all those months leading up to this year. I saw the Raiders being an offensive team that can also defensively back the points that they put on the board. But the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, folks. They are still the Kansas City Chiefs. They still have Arrowhead Stadium in full throat. They still have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and they still have an offense that is coordinated by Eric Bieniemy and honchoed by Andy Reid, coming up with all sorts of manners to get the football to all sorts of people. And they do have the ability to make defensive plays with one of the best in the business up front in Chris Jones. And that guy can end a game on his own. And the Raiders made too many damn mistakes last night. Too many mistakes on the offensive line in the first half. Too many mistakes in the second half. One defensive hold on a missed field goal that would have given the ball back to the Raiders down just 1, instead gave new life to the Kansas City Chiefs. And what they did with that life was find Travis Kelce in the end zone for a 4th time. And they went for 2, which I kind of liked that call because it would have given them a 2-possession lead. It would have given them a 2-possession lead. And the Chiefs have a gajillion 2-point plays that I'm sure they were very confident in making. And if they didn't make it, it was still a 1-touchdown game. And it dared the Raiders to tie the game and go for two, or the Raiders tied the game or had an opportunity to tie the game and they went for two and they didn't tie the game. And that was all she wrote. We will get to the officiating in this hour. I guarantee you that. Eli Manning's going to be calling us in a second to talk about all of these subjects. But let's just put a bow on it, on a highly entertaining game that was a big-time thrill to watch. It was infuriating, some of the calls, the passing, roughing the passer call. Again, we'll get to that. As you know, I was pounding the table significantly yesterday just in the aftermath of the Tom Brady sack by Grady Jarrett that was ruled a roughing the passer call that upended the Falcons' opportunity to come back and win that. I told you this stuff should be reviewable, and we'll hit it again later on because some of the other things that happened in that game last night illustrate my point of how to fix this thing. And there is a fix to it. But I'm just hoping the fix for the Vegas Raiders as we take this one team at a time here. I hope the fix for the Vegas Raiders is just to get healthy in the bye week, come back with a right mind and a right body, and that there are still 12 more regular season games to be played. I don't know if my prophecy that they will win the division has been eliminated. It looks terrible. They're 3.5 games behind the team in front of them, who's only won 6 straight division titles and still looks terrific, has the bones of a championship team, to use the phrase that Chris Long used yesterday when he said he didn't see that in the Rams. I'm genuinely concerned that the Raiders are not going to win this division. How about that? As the obvious being stated. I do believe, though, they still have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm not going to jump ship on that. They have too many good players, and they just have to eliminate the mistakes and get their minds right. I'm genuinely concerned their minds are still not right in a way. Davante Adams shoving over a member of the media who's just trying to do his job is so out of character for him. They're frustrated. They're angry. They're 1-4. Darren Waller couldn't even play more than 6-7 snaps last night. You know? But you look at the Raiders' schedule here, and moving forward, the Las Vegas Raiders coming off of their bye, they're home for Houston, at New Orleans, at Jacksonville, home for Indianapolis, at Denver, and then at Seattle. Let's put together a nice little win streak, Raiders. It's possible. It is entirely possible.
Well, they could win the next 6 in a row after the bye week. Why not?
They make too many mistakes. I'm totally concerned about that. Then they have to win the game against the Chargers at home because the Chargers have already beaten them once, and they got to beat a Rams team that I'm imagining is going to be much better. You know, that's a Thursday night game, or a quick turnaround for them after they play. You know, after they play the Chargers at home. I just, you know, like I said, they make way too many mistakes on the offensive line, and they need to play mistake-free football to beat a top-notch team.